I thought you bring it in. You want to bring it in?
Leave this in here.
Yeah, that's staying right there. That's staying right there.
Go for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. I am Titus. That is France. Let's Talk Battle Rappers in the building. You know what I'm saying? This is like our first audio podcast we've done. That's kind of crazy.
Long time.
Right.
Long time.
It's kind of crazy. It's been a busy 3 days in battle rap, man. Monday or Sunday, you had the Murda Mook Press Conference. You know what I'm saying? You got asked the question of the year, question of the decade.
Yeah.
And you did the right thing by not answering. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what they say, you did the right thing, not answering that question.
I mean, we shot free the wave, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how you can scream free the wave and then want to answer that question on camera.
Facts. Then what, Tuesday, was that yesterday? The dreaded list dropped? The top 50 dropped?
Shout out to Justin Hunt.
Shout out Justin Hunt.
AKA the company, man.
Facts.
Those for those that might not be familiar, I just want to say this. Justin Hunt is not an outsider, guys, okay? This is the man that created BattleRap.com that's under the Hip Hop DX umbrella. So before there was an LTBR and there were people trying to be professional and write editorials and cover battles like this, it was Justin, right? And it's because he's an award-winning journalist. He has his roots deep in hip hop. Go check out his breakdown segments on Hip Hop DX. All of them are amazing content. And I'm happy he did this because he created the dialogue that's very much needed. And it's time for us to fill in the gaps and put in the structure of what is needed. You feel me?
Facts. Salute to everybody, man. Salute to all the media that's held it down. Because a lot of truths got told the last couple of days. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Henny, man, what he said in his video. Shout out London Jen. Shout out to battle rappers too. But it was interesting, man. This is always funny to me because friends, you be talking about this all the time. Like, we're basketball fans. They make lists to make people mad. That's what they do.
The acronym for list, I can't take all the credit for this. Shout out to my guy Andre over at Rolling Stone. And for those who know him, he's the battle rap writer, or not battle rap writer, but he writes about battle rap at Complex. He used to, now he's at Rolling Stone. But I'm stealing this from him. See, Andre, I could have stole it, Andre. I'm giving you credit. But he said list stands for let's intentionally start trouble.
That's a great acronym. That's what they do. That's an amazing acronym.
I should have stole it, right? I should have stole
it. Yo, like every year, bro, the ESPN drops that NBA top 100, that NBA list. Like they rank every player in the league, and all it does is get people mad. It's like they do this every year to have give first take some content in the summer because there's nothing to talk about. Why do y'all fall for this? But I love when they fall for it because the conversation is always funny. Sometimes you get meltdowns and then you get a lot of laughs. But like, what's so weird about this list, friends, that we've been talking, and it's like, there may be like 5 names that were wrong.
Maybe. Yeah.
Out of 50.
In all honesty, I can easily say 40 of these names are correct. Easily, like without a doubt. And for me, my own personal list, like I would have 42 of these names. So if I'm agreeing with 80% of the list, is it really a bad list? Is it really a terrible list? Or is it a list with just a slight disconnect where we can have the dialogue as to what's the other 20%?
Right, exactly. And shout out to Verb, because Verb did actually mention that in the space the other day. He was like, he only missing like 7 of these, but you know, like Verb even said that. It's like, so why are we having this 3-hour space about it? It's 7 people missing. Like we online for 20 for the whole day. And what was fun was when Justin Hunt went into space. Shout out to them for going into space. Shout out to the media for holding down this week, by the way. You told Mook to his face he was losing. Justin Hunt went into space and held his list down. You know what I'm saying? Y'all was under pressure. Y'all didn't fold because, you know, real niggas don't fold. But Justin Hunt was in space like, well, who would y'all take off the list? Like, oh, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Well, somebody got to come off the list if somebody should. If it's 50, you got to pull somebody off the list to replace somebody, bro. Y'all can't have it both ways with somebody who deserves to be on the list that don't want to talk about who needs to be off the list.
You know how ladies, like when they're feeling a guy and they're texting them, they'd be like, it's always what you're doing and never when you're gonna take me out to dinner. When it comes to these lists, it's always, oh, look who's missing. And it's never, well, who's coming off?
That's real though. That's real. Nobody wants to have that conversation. Everybody wants to just say who should have been on, but not talk about who shouldn't, who doesn't deserve to be there, because that will take things away from people. And it's always weird and funny how that works.
And maybe that's just maybe that's just a societal human trait of ours, that instead of rushing to alternatives for solution, we rush to the issue instead of like, all right, what exactly needs to be done so that we can feel better about this decision or this outcome or this result. And again, like we said, at least 40 of these names are right. And in my opinion, I gathered a consensus of all the names that are snubbed. We could go down these names and we can talk about who we thought was really snubbed. E Hart, Reed Dollars, Enes, B Magic, Big T, Miss Hustle, Real Deal, Quest McCody. This name was not mentioned on the timeline, but I'm going to insert this name myself, okay? His name is Jin, all right? Jin, in my opinion, definitely snubbed in regards to what this list is built for.
Jin's a good one.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a really good one.
Off the top of your head, Titus, do you remember anybody that you would like remove from this list? Because I have it in front of me.
Oh yeah, Daylight.
Hey, listen, I'm not mad at that.
I just feel like I understand how good he is when he raps, but it's like, how many examples of him actually rapping do we have?
Listen, there's some people that feel that way about his career, where it's like his career is monumental for all things outside of art, but then when he actually tries to focus on art, it's really fucking good. So does it compensate for all those moments? Like, so for some people, yes, for some people, no, but he's unforgettable. So I can understand why they would revere him in a list where like these are names you have to remember. These are names you can't tell the story of battle rap without.
Yeah, it's confused because like every highlight of him rapping, I was like, this was incredible. And I think about the 3-year span where it was just him doing nonsense in every league at every location with like a good battle sprinkled in swinging there. And it's like, yo, it's so much. It's like a fighter who had like, they won the belt for a little bit, they finished with a losing record. It's like, how much did you really do?
Yeah.
Like, are you a Hall of Famer? Nah, you had a moment. You had a moment. Daylight has moments sprinkled around a bunch of losses. So many losses.
Some names are offered for me. I love A Ward. I'm glad that he got some shine off of this. That's my man's 100 grand. I can't call you one of the greatest 50 battle rappers ever. Maybe in 5 years I could.
Right.
A little young. The same applies for Easy. Like I just feel like they're still in their prime. They're still building. A lot of the other names that are in, I mean, almost every other name in here for the most part, except Body, who's like an exception.
Right.
They're cemented. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Easy. You know, Easy and A-Ward feel like when they put Shaq on that top 50 all-time list in the NBA before he had done much.
Yeah, it was like
a projection.
It like ended up aging well, but it was too soon.
Right. It was way too early, but it's like, I guess, but it definitely was like more of a projection than a current fact.
And that's one thing people forget about lists, right? When we have this emotional response to it in real time, but we forget that it now becomes etched in stone. So 5 years from now, we're going to look back at this list, and if Easy ends up going to 2 more Gnomes and 2 more Summer Madnesses and becomes the only other battle rapper next to Tay Rock and Geechee to have that many consecutive trips, or has more main events that like and starts to match records with like really legendary guys, it'll make sense that he's there. What if A-Ward continues his spree of acquiring names away from URL? Like then it'll make sense. But right now it just feels like it's too soon.
Yeah. That's what I am. And I feel like those are the only ones that I'm like, I don't get how he made it. It wasn't too many that I felt like didn't have it. There's something you can make a case for. Whether you think it should be up there or not, you can make the case for them being on the list. You know what I'm saying? I think even we had the Big K conversation, right? In the chat, it's like Big K's interesting. Big K's resume is kind of crazy when you really look at it. Like the resume is pretty insane. There's basically not a name missing from his resume.
Let me ask you about 2 names.
Yeah.
What do you think of T-Top in this list and Av on this list?
I can see a case for T-Top because the run he had on UFF, like he really established something in that moment. And we all remember how I was watching him on UFF because he dominated. Like he really dominated. Him and Chess was a great battle, but he was smoking shit like coming out the gate when he got the URL. You know what I'm saying? He was really on fire, even from his PG. And they came in hype. Him and Briz came in hype prospects. And they really lived up to every piece of it. And it didn't take too long. It really didn't take long for them to live up to all the expectations. So I can see a case for T-Top being on the list because T-Top was dominant. He doesn't have too many bad showings, realistically. And just the reason they put on for, you know what I'm saying? I really knew they battle rapping in North Carolina. So he came on.
I would keep T-Top just because of his, like, you start to see all the wins he has, the tournament wins, UFF, the tournaments prior to getting on URL. He's got 16 million view battles on the league. You know what I'm saying? He has main events, like main event against Surf, main events against Charlie Clips, main event against Geechee Gotti, main event against Mike P. You know what I mean?
Math was main event too, right?
Math was a Math too, you know, like, so like the man is very decorated. You know what I mean? The man is very, very decorated. I think he has a unique style. Obviously, the storytelling style that he comes with is like, he's not punch heavy, and yet he's able to entertain to the capacity that he does. And I think he also aged very well in the app era as well. Like during that run during Caffeine, even though he had a little 4-battle losing streak between B.E.T, Easy, Coffee, and one more he lost in that stretch, and Jack Boy.
Yeah.
All 4 of those were battle of the night.
It says a lot.
Yeah, man. Like at one point, he was consistently having battle of the night. You know what I'm saying? Arguably had one of the best rounds last year. Arguably also had one of the biggest bodies last year. Have been able to put up all URL rounds the last couple of years. Like T-Top is that caliber of a guy that I have no problem with him staying there. And Av, while I feel like Av is like, obviously, if I have to rank all-time punchers, he probably could be 3rd at most on my list, right?
Right.
For some people. He's definitely within the top 4, so I can see a world where it's like, well, he's the 4th best puncher. But at that point, it's like the 4th best. Do we need him if we don't have Magic?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I'm glad I've said himself. I've said on 3 Letter Man, he's like, I would bow out to put Magic on this list, and that's how I feel. Like, no disrespect to Av, I just feel like you don't have
the standard.
Yeah, like Magic, like. Conceded obviously is the godfather of what like pure punches were at a time, at a very slow pace, 1, 2, 3, 4 punch setup. B Magic is the original every fucking bar.
Right.
B Magic and slightly K Shine are like the original chain punchers. So like I don't feel like there's an evolution of like punching if you don't have B Magic in it.
Yeah. Magic feels glaring to me in that situation. With Av and no Magic. Like Av and Nitty, I mean Magic and Nitty are like guarantees to be up there. And then we'll figure out the rest of the punches. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like you said, 4th best is like, the top 3 have a strong case. And Magic evolved it. Magic evolved it. Nitty took it somewhere in the outer space that we can't get it back. But and Av is great, but I don't think Av would be up there for me. As good as much as I love Av. I couldn't put him up there above them either. Yeah, not without Magic on the list.
Yeah, man, I feel that same way. A couple of names that I also really feel like should have been on here. You know, I know Big T's decline. If you look at the app numbers, and over the last couple of years have been abysmal. But there is no doubt of what he was at his peak. And I personally feel like at his peak, he's better than a lot of names on this list. You know what I mean?
agree with that.
So Big T's 1. Obviously, we just agreed on Magic.
Yeah. Reed, of course.
$3 and E-Nest, those 2. Like I feel like both of them should be there, but it might only be a pick for 1. I'm curious, where are you going?
I'm going Reed because I feel like Reed's transitioned really well and markedly improved and had real success in this era. Like Enes hasn't been unsuccessful, but Reed's success has been different. Like he's been on multiple Summer Madnesses. He got a win on the Summer Madness. He had a classic in a small room with chess. He's transitioned pretty well. He's got some showings that were bad, like the Mook showing is also bad on his part. He got away with it, but he also wasn't good in that battle. But you saw the
way with his whole RB run, and I'll never let that go unturned.
Yeah. That's been interesting. But I think you can't have this without Reed because I mean Reed is responsible for a lot. Gotti said Reed is his biggest influence. You know what I'm saying? That's the West Coast dude. So Reed's reach is far and wide. So I do feel like he should have been on the list for sure. If I had to pick one, him or Enes, I'd pick Reed.
That one round where versus Enamel kill with a shoulder to resin, like that round lives forever.
Yes.
Like, if we had a museum of like of NFTs that we can scan with our phones and listen to rounds. Reed Dollars' round is in the Hall of Fame. Like that's a Hall of Fame round that transcended over time, has aged gracefully, and damn near 20 years later you can watch it and still probably get goosebumps.
Yes. Yeah, it's really crazy. Yeah, Reed's glaring to me. Reed was glaring to me. I'm glad Serious Jones got on the list because I feel like people don't appreciate Serious Jones enough. Like the battles might not be the best, but he don't have a lot of losses on that resume.
Not at all.
Like, he transitioned pretty well, and I think that goes a long way into making the top into legacy, making the top 50. Is that how well do you transition? transition bet a lot of bets. I thought Big T was interesting because I feel like Big T at Big T's peak, like I said, he's one of the most dangerous battlers we've ever seen.
Facts.
But it also feels like if you want to make the case for him not being on the list, maybe it's because his peak was short. Right? Like, would that be what it wasn't a long run? And I'm asking, like, would that be the case against him, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, and also I'm just wondering how much is like the drop off of your career affecting you too, because I feel like Magic and him have had like some of the biggest drop offs we can remember.
Right.
And neither of them are on this list. So I'm wondering how much did that affect their placement in history. But I don't know. I think of Big T's like what he did to Hitman Holla.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he went toe to toe an amazing Hollow. The classic with Surf. You know, for main event Gnome against Charlie Clips. He's got some under the belt. He's got a lot of.
Yeah.
I'll say to people like this much: don't let the last 3-4 years of Big T be the full definition of who he is, because the first 4 or 5 years of his career, the man just took off, and not just on URL too, also on King of the Dot as well.
That's true. Yeah, that makes sense. I really wanted to ask that because I was wondering the case against him, and that's the only thing I could think of was maybe the run didn't feel long enough. That's the only thing I could think of for him. But yeah, this list isn't bad, man. This is not worth all this. But do we want to get more names? Do we want to get into the media battler aspect of this? Because that was what I found fascinating.
The last two names for the ladies, E Hart and Hustle, we can combine it as one. I feel like, all right, Miss Hustle strikes me as a person that if she was on this list, she had no problem promoting this. You know what I mean? And of course, I'm pretty sure anybody will feel that way. If they're on the list, not upset, they're not on it, they're angry. That's human nature. I have no problem with that. And the first thing people will say is she's the first female to ever battle on URL, her and E Hart. And is that single accolade alone enough to be on this list? Maybe it could for some, you know what I'm saying? But all I'm saying is when you stop to see all the names of how decorated people are and you start to put things on paper, you just have to stop to ask yourself, is this one accolade and other things that she's accomplished along the way because of the doors this open, was it enough? Because she had a really long break from battle rap. She didn't battle for, I think, 4 years? 2015 and 2019 had like a 4-year layover. And I would really say that it's as of lately that like she's like been able to like up her career, right? Some of these caffeine battles, the Verb win, the main events at Chrome. Because prior to that, like it wasn't like a year ago that she didn't have a single million view battle. You know what I'm saying? The few main event battles she had, respectfully, in my opinion, were losses like 40, like QB, like Misfit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Jazz battle, obviously, we know that the choke got edited out there. You know what I'm saying? So I never even felt like in her URL run, besides the official battle, like there was a clear win there. But if we're just going to strictly go off First Lady off URL, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get E Hart's body of work is far more extensive than Miss Hustle's, like, because during the early years, like Miss Hustle only had a few Queen of the Ring battles. I think only 3 to be exact. She might have the first one, person to gender with O-Red, that's 1 round, and obviously Misfit in QB. But before that, like, there wasn't that many. And then you look at E Hart, like, man, E Hart's Queen of the Ring resume, just listen to this. She has Misfit, Shayna Ashley, Gaddis, C3, 40 Bars, Unique, and obviously the famous Lady Trees, the infamous battle that kind of set everything off. And that's already 3 times the amount of battles that Hustle has on Queen of the Ring. It doesn't include, obviously, what she's done on URL. Also, the first battle with Hustle and then the battle with Jazz. And she's got battles on RBE. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, a lot of R&B battles. She's on the Snoop Dogg card. She obviously has one of the best battles of the year last year with First Lady Flames. Like, if anything, if I had to choose between one of those two, I'm picking Hart over Hustle.
Okay. You made the case. You made strong. I mean, it's a strong case for both, but like, I think with Hustle, we always talk about the rings aspect of things, and she does have this.
Any surprise with picking somebody over Hustle? No, right?
It's not at all.
I made a good case.
You did make a good case. I think we talk about these rings when it comes to some Madness and Gnomes, and Hustle does have one of each of those. Yeah, 2 of those. Yeah, she has one of each of those. She's been on some Madness, been on her own. E Hart was technically on a Summer Madness, but we don't want to. We know how that went.
Yeah, new rule. If you have a battle where you forfeit, we can't count the highlights in that battle.
All right. So she's
got one under the belt, but
she does. They don't really do much for it. That one don't really add to the case. She got that. Actually, she had the first intergender battle, which was a moment at the time. She had the jazz battle. She got the Gaddis battle, which people, like it. People said it was great, but it was interesting.
Right.
At the moment it felt great. Then we watched it on cam, so it didn't feel the same. But it's still a moment. Like she has a gnome and a Summer Madness. 2 Summer Madnesses and 1 gnome, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like those, if you want those to come into play, then I think that's her top 50 case right there. That she crossed over to rocking an actual Summer Madness stage.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm just a little hypercritical. I've always have been, but I really would probably edge her on the list.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is to the people, just keep an open mind. When you start to put everybody's accomplishments on paper, you'll start to be like, wait a minute, like, hold on. Like, before we go to the media section, like I was having this conversation earlier with some of our media peers, and I'm like, I'm not saying Goods comes off this list, but what makes him a lock to be on this list? Because if you remove Summer Impact, he's never been on Summer Madness.
Yeah.
And then something like that, you go, wait a minute,
that's pretty crazy.
Summer Madness, that's crazy.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, he's like a gnome guy, right? He has what?
Yeah, he got a bunch of gnomes, and obviously the Lions Den era. I'm not saying you take Goods off.
But you
just have to ask the question, like, what makes him a lock?
Yeah.
Once you put his list up, start to compare his list to other people, and you're like, hold on, somebody like, let me pull some names here. Somebody like Sharon is actually on paper more decorated than Goods. I'm not putting them in order. I'm just saying like what they've accomplished. And obviously Goods isn't as active as a lot of guys, so he's not going to have those things, but he also has a peer of people that have the same level of activity as him. Calico, Surf, Conceited, a couple other guys that are in that ballpark of the same amount of battles, and yet they have so much more.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point with Goods. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, there definitely is a case you could take this off. If you had to take a Lions Den era guy off, you can make the case that Goods comes off.
Hey, all I'm saying is, look, maybe we can put a nice little accolade sheet to everybody's stuff. When I say accolade sheet, I don't mean wins and losses. That's subjective. Impact is also narrative based, but if you just put accomplishments, milestones, million view battles, headliners, you'll start to see like a lot of stars and badges on some names and very few on some others. And you'll be like, oh, hold on. This person was very impactful, but like you start to see a big gap. Like I remember when we were talking about Chess on Summer Madness, we're like, hold on, Chess been on Summer Madness more times than like Verb.
Right.
He's been on Summer Madness more times than Surf. Hold up.
Yeah.
And Surf, I free the wave, but I love when Surf was always like, JC's never, when you ever seen JC headline Summer Madness? This was your first one too.
Right.
13 years in, this is actually your first Summer Madness too.
Yeah. It's always funny to see guys like do that with numbers. Because then Surf also be like, yeah, I'm more of a known baby. It's like, yes, but yeah, man, that means Summer Madness headline. It's okay though.
Let's talk about the media's response to this.
The media, this has been interesting because I feel like the media. Well, first off, shout out to Quest Cody. I respect Quest Cody a lot, but he was in the space. I think you heard him in the space. Made comments like, Absolutely. our media has to step up and do things like this for us and be in these spaces. One, I think there was a kind of misunderstanding on how articles at these big websites work, because it's not. No one can just submit an article to BET that doesn't work for BET and get the article. That's not how that works. Right. Because he was kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, just y'all got to submit your articles to these websites. That's not really how that works on major publications. You're not just going to submit an article and they don't know. You can go, who is this person sending me an email? Why should I care about this? That's pretty much what's going to happen. For one, and two, it's like we have an entire website, not to self-aggrandize or anything, but like we have an entire website.
You pay a lot of money for that domain. Go ahead and plug that.
Let's talk battlrap.com, where we have maybe one critical article that even had a positive spin on it. We do a lot of positive pieces and a lot of analytical pieces and contextualizing battle rap. But the only battlers who retweet and look at that are the battlers who are involved in it. No one else, like, you don't see a lot of battlers who aren't directly in an article, sharing an article, reading an article, leaving feedback on an article. It's mainly just the guys who are in the article. So it's like, y'all aren't really helping us either in the grand scheme of things, because you have media that are doing these things and would do more of these things. But it's got to be a two-way street when it comes to support too. Because like they talk about how we don't bring them down. We bring them down. We don't speak up enough. But it's like, yo, man, when we do, you're not really here for it. And when there's a champion of the year and a woman of the year, y'all get just mad at us as you did at Justin. The champion of the year had spaces going for 2 months after it. Bodie had panel had spaces going for a month after it. Like, no matter what, whether it's our bad rap media or outsiders, quote perceived outsiders, like we said, Justin Hutton isn't an outsider. The reaction is the same. So like, what I don't understand. It feels like y'all just want to be. It feels like it comes off y'all just want to be mad and be bothered. That's what it comes off as.
Look, like we said earlier, let's intentionally start trouble, right? And I understand how these things become, trigger based. I just always feel like it's just funny, not trying to question Cody, just in general.
Right.
People that are included in these publications are the ones that never have a problem with it, and the ones that aren't are the ones that critique it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's always like funny to me because like I know The Source and others do battle rap lists at the end of the year. And everybody be like, well, they're not credible. They're not from our culture. They don't know what they're talking about. But if they're in those lists, in those awards, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, praise to me. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So we need to pick a side. Do we not want to give it life and justice because we don't know who's behind the pen on this? Or, you know what I'm saying? Even if you are in it, do you just want more clarity? And that's totally fair to ask.
Yeah.
And I agree with the way like these publications like B.E.T, Vibe Magazine, All Hip Hop, Hip Hop DX, many more to list. Big mainstream platforms that put a slight spotlight on battle rap. Mm-hmm. People will love that slight spotlight over the big bright light that's constantly happening in the circuits of battle rap media.
Right. That's a fact.
That's the Henny man. He was not lying when he said like, hey, listen, there's people down here that's written articles about you guys, myself included, Henny Man included, London Jen and others, and it hasn't really gotten the love that it's supposed to. And maybe as a whole reading is just dead. And I've always used to hear that like, people won't read in battle rap. People don't really care for it. I'm like, people don't care for it because it's not available. You know, right. Every other industry has staff writers all the time or hired staff writers. Like, why are we acting like we cannot evolve into that realm? I've always said it. Look, less bloggers, more writers. You know what I'm saying? Less bloggers, more compilation people. Everybody can't be a star in this game. I'm not saying that we're stars. And everybody shouldn't want to be a star. Sometimes I love to do all the things that doesn't require me to speak or be on camera. But if there's just an area of people that just want to write about battle rap more often, that's welcomed.
For sure. Like that's the balance thing. It's also like when you look at the judging, they basically got all media kicked off the judging panels in favor of battle rappers. You know?
My favorite was like when UN5 was like really telling, right? Because they could not find judges for the life of them. They asked me, they asked a lot of people in media, and everybody declined because it was just too short notice. They don't want to go through the stress of it. And then last minute, they get Calico, Quest McCody, John the Don, and Polo is the only media member that's attached. The very first battle of the tournament, None and Sheet happens where None wins the fan vote by, what was it, like at least an 80-20 split, maybe higher.
Yeah.
And Polo was the only person that had None. So he kind of matched with the fans, and all the rappers had Sheed. And it caused this huge outroar of like, this is a robbery, you guys are not to judge. And in my opinion, it's like, no, I think everybody is low-key right here in their judging. The problem is we keep acting like the perspective of a rapper and the perspective of a media member and a consumer don't hold, I don't want to say equivalent value, but there's different value. You know what I'm saying? I can respect somebody that understands the craft more, but there is a value in being the person that's not behind the pen, because the same way you can appreciate a performance and material being written because you know what it's like to perform and write material, it also comes with a jaded view of not knowing like, oh, hold on, this person might not catch us because this is overly layered and not digestible or not, accessible to some listening ears. Like there is a key balance to it. And I hate when people try to downplay the way others view things, because it's like, these are the people that are keeping the lights on. These are the people that you're probably seeking the validation from. These are the people that you're actually looking to impress and looking to get that dopamine off when you land a reaction from your bars. Their value and their input is just as important as the way you view things.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, because battlers, you're about to say I don't rap. Well, some battlers will say I don't rap for I don't rap for fans. Was like, but when you're on stage and getting the reaction, you like y'all sleep.
Pick and choose. Which one is it?
Like, you were rapping to me. I'm sorry. I was chilling. You said you weren't rapping for me.
Yeah, like which one do you want? Like which one do you want? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Do you want them to go crazy, or do you want them to just sit back and listen? If they don't react, they're asleep. If they react too much, it's gas. Like I just feel like it's an out every single time for somebody.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like there's a lot of negativity in the quote unquote media space, but there's a lot of good people doing good media. A lot of people doing good media. You know what I'm saying? So throw your support towards them more, as opposed to the random YouTube blogger that you just found who has like 12 subscribers.
Listen, I always tell people, if you could just use the same power to ignore up and coming, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. If you can use the same power to ignore negative bloggers and media, the same way you ignore up and comers in battle rap, you'd probably be in a much more positive space.
That's a fact, though. That's really a fact.
These guys are working their ass off to become a professional battle rapper. A lot of talent is being shown, a lot of hunger, passion is being displayed, and they will get no spotlight recognition or praise because somebody, you know, with big glasses in a borough in New York is probably talking about you.
I'm so glad you did that. That's a great segue. France, you were at the Murda Mook Press Conference on Sunday. The lone voice of dissent, and kind of the life of it, because you made it a lot more fun.
Wasn't my intentions. I didn't come there to make a production. I just wanted to be the guy that's honest. That's all I wanted to be.
Right. As somebody who was in the lab, you come, we were trying to formulate what kind of questions to ask, how to ask them. You know what I'm saying? I know that you went in there with like 2 questions to ask. Literally 2 questions. It's just, it turned into a whole thing because it's Mook, and there was a moment you were, like you said, you were pretty much the lone voice of dissent in the room. But you held it down. Shout out to Black Compass for holding you down yesterday against somebody with big glasses in a borough in New York,
right,
in their mouth. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all of me that's been holding it down for you, because you did your thing. I was proud of how it went. I enjoyed it. I was like, yeah, France, hold it down, France.
Yeah. Big shout outs to Black Compass, all of them. Tony Bro, Polo, Cola, Driz, Posey, all of them. Shouts to all of them, because they all really showed an immense amount of support, love, gave me flowers, backed me up. And not just on the radio show, like on the spaces and messages. They're calling me, they're making more content, they're talking to people. Tony Bro made a tweet about it today. I felt like it was because when Mook kind of posed the whole like, "Have you ever cooked crack?" question, like it was kind of funny and laughable at the moment, but I felt like for them it like exposed like, hold on, this isn't really somebody that is cut from our cloth. And I always tell people, like, just because you're not from the streets doesn't mean you weren't born in the ghetto. Like, I don't have to be in a gang or the streets or a drug dealer to have street smarts, be from the hood, be affiliated or know people of that caliber and nature, and know how to move. Like, we're all minorities still growing up in New York. Like, the softest version of somebody in New York is still hard somewhere else. Okay? You know what I'm saying? And plus, like, I felt like they kind of were taking that opportunity to like really like dissect my character or pick apart like who I am. And when Murda Mook was kind of like, you represent, he just put his hand in the air. He just kind of like waved his hand like, you represent that shit. Yeah. And when he's saying that, I feel like he was kind of alluding to like, you're those internet fans that say these things about me. You're that. And that's why I was just like, hold up, man. I could be that, but I'm also outside too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've really been in the trenches. I've been to Black Star buying DVDs. I've been to these Lion Den events. I've tried to get into URL events with a fake ID when I was too young to get into these events. I've been to Summer Madness 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The list goes on. And I've actually been at every single Murda Mook battle with the exception of the 2-on-2 against Twerk and T-Top. I've been at all his battles live in the flesh. Okay. Right. So if there's anybody that can speak on all these experiences, the growth of things, or at least the art form of it, it would be me. I would hope so. You know what I'm saying? I would be alarmed if I've been to this many things and I wouldn't have some kind of educated stance on these things. So I felt like they really got a chance to like, they're like, hold on, you know what? this is just what it is. These are just the people that kind of watch battle rap now. And I'm just kind of like, there's probably more people like me than people like you're alluding to. You know what I'm saying? There's probably way more Francis in the world than people that could crack in the venue.
Yeah, it was it showed the disconnect and the cognitive dissonance. Just like, yo, so do you think that Geechee Gotti's fans aren't like street people as well?
And that's another thing. Like, what exactly?
Gotti blew up. You think regular people can understand Geechee Gotti?
Like, what street content would you rap about that Geechee also can't relate to it? The same people, the same exact audience wouldn't be able to relate to Geechee to.
Right.
What I'm saying? Right. Like, I didn't. And another thing I didn't really understand is like, if we're being totally honest, if we're being very, very honest, I think Murda Mook and Loaded Lux appeal way more to battle rap nerds than the street guys.
For sure. Because, bro, Mook, this was funny. Like, we already know Lux is a go on back on camera and watch the battle person.
Right.
But Mook is that too. Mook likes to kind of portray that he's not when he's talking. Like, bro, you're a person who, like, you're a real bar for bar, go back and watch it again, listen to what I'm saying type person, which is the nerd part of battle rap. It is. You're over there with the Pins, you're with the JCs, the Chillers, like all those guys who y'all made fun of, people made fun of for years for being, just the nerdy part of battle rap. You're kind of a backpack battle rapper. You are. It's
I wouldn't call him backpack. I would just say that he's very in tune with being layered or intellectual. Yeah, and all those things require second watches, bar breakdowns, people to really focus on the intricacies of what he does. And I genuinely feel like that is what appeals to the air quote battle rap nerd more than the street guy. You know what I'm saying? Because like they're enjoying how layered you can be with your content. And honestly, us as fans, we've said it, like 2006 against Sirius Jones, 2008 against Young Hot, he was ahead of his time, performing to the camera, doing all these skits. And then when he battled Young Hot, he stopped doing gun bars. That's like the first time you've seen like a real like street DVD kind of smack battle where there's no gun bars. He told Reed, one round you told the nigga that you sparked a pound. Next round you hawked him down and you hawked him down. Third round you killed him in the river and forced him to drown. And if you're doing all this killing, why you ain't in jail right now? So he's kind of like calling out like, why are we always talking about guns and we're not really killing nobody?
Yeah.
Why are we talking about all this stuff and we're not really doing it? I'm not saying that he hasn't done it, but he kind of just matured out of it.
Right. I mean, he even said that like, I don't like doing this. I wanted to grow up and stop doing that type of stuff.
Right.
So it's like, okay, well, you're on this side now, bro.
Yeah.
You're over here now, dog. That's where you want to be. That's where you are. Welcome to the Penn side. It was the Penn side thing. But no, it's that press conference, watching it gave me zero confidence that anything is going to change in Mook's style. Like I left feeling like, okay, yeah, this is going to be the same thing, just in New York, just with New York support for a little bit. This is going to be the same Mook we've seen pretty much. And he can absolutely get 30 at home badly.
I just look at it as like, do you think the same online fans that you might have a disconnect with aren't the same online fans that you're also wanting support from? Like, you know, what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know, and I'm just confused. I don't know what he wants. You know, unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to even talk about his answers to the question, which was probably the most important part of all that sauce. You know, I asked him, like, do you know, he says battle rap shouldn't be concerned with rocking the crowd. Do you still agree with that? His answer was, yeah, I still agree with that. I don't think rocking the crowd is the right term. And I was just like that's not good.
It's very, very bad. But yeah, you didn't get to get into that because, you know, everything went every other direction. But no, like you're rapping in front of, where they at? Irving Plaza, a battle rap mecca, a battle rap staple with large crowds. How many sold? 2,000 plus?
Right. At least over 12.
Over 1,200. Like, you're rapping in front of that many people. The crowd does matter at that point, because if they're not engaged, as much people want to be like, oh, on cam, the crowd shouldn't affect what you're watching on cam. It should, to an extent. I've always said it should, to an extent, because you can see at home whether you're somebody who connect with the crowd. You got to connect with those people in the building, man. If you can't connect with them, You have a few people scrabbling on cam. They're like, oh, the crowd just sleeping on the bars. That's not the case every time. That's part of battle rap now. I'm sorry, it's a show. We went to the PIA tour, friends. Both of us went to the PIA tour. With shout out A-Ward Loso Street M's. We went to that. That's a spoken word tour. They ain't just standing on stage reading off pieces and reciting them. There's performance in that. So elements of hip hop have performance in it. That is a part of the game, period. It's part of engaged, part of keeping people involved. So to dismiss that entirely because you wrote some really dope stuff, that's not what we doing, man. It's not a cipher. It's not a cipher.
I just don't see how like battle rap has evolved so much in the last 13 years to the point where it's like you still feel like, oh, well, it's not street enough. Like, what exactly is street about going to a venue like Irving Plaza with almost 2,000 people? Like it isn't the wild, wild west anymore. You know what I'm saying?
No. It's a business, and that's the other aspect. I'm glad you brought that up. Because I tweeted today in regards to the list. You retweeted it. I said thing about being a niche what I say exactly? It was something to lose of the fact that we're in a niche market and those fans are always most rabid and protective over it, right? Yeah. But the thing about being in a niche market is that if you want to go mainstream, certain things got to change. And battle rappers and some fans always talking about getting more coverage and being more mainstream. Well, you know what mainstream for battle rap entails? Rocking crowds with 1,000+ people, selling out venues. Yes, some of that street elements is going to be gone because we're making real money now. There's real money in the product now. So some of that has to go away. It's sacrifice you got to make. If you want it to not be that, then, just if you want to make the money you're making that you love and y'all love to rap about so much, you know what I'm saying? Then go back to that, I guess, if you want to do that. But you're not going to have both. You can't have both.
Here's a great example, right? And this is why I get a little upset where the disconnect is so wide. Like, look at Rex. Mm-hmm. He has a great career in the modern era. Yeah, of course, his last maybe 3 or 4 years hasn't been up to his prime levels. It's way past his prime. But let's go back to 2010. He goes over to Grind Time, battles Awkwards. What does he do in the first round? He pulls out a Kango, a prop. Rex has never pulled out a prop up to that moment. Puts on a Kango and then raps like Awkwards. And it's like, it blew the crowd away. And it made me realize, oh, Rex understands the demographic of where he's going to. And he did something out of his norm to win a battle.
Yeah.
And it's like, hold on. Like, I don't feel like Mook's understood that yet. You know what I mean?
Right. There's a level of give and take you got to have. You just have to, if you really want your performance to be looked at the way you want to be looked at, right? Like if you don't want to be online for a week after yelling about people that understand you, you need to do something to make them understand you. Like you remember after the Reed battle when he was arguing with 3 Letterman, shout out 3 Letterman, he was arguing with him and about people not getting his material, and Royce asked him, he's like, how long have you had this problem? And I knew he was getting that. I knew exactly what he was getting at, but he didn't get to go there. But the question, what he was really asking is, why do you have such a problem connecting to people, and how long has that been going on? And Mook has not shown a willingness to figure out why that is. He just showed more of a lashing out approach that, oh, they just don't want to understand me. It's like, no, people want to understand. People want you to win so badly. People really want you to be good. They do.
Kind of drags into this like minutia, and it gets very hysterical about like small details to prove like your lack of reception to his content is somehow your fault.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I just never understood why it's like, well, look, I'm not the only one that feels this way. Look around you. Everybody feels this way. Right. And you said to yourself, like, you don't want to battle Gotti and everybody. And against Reed, you feel like you were battling the crowd. Like, if there isn't a moment to like wake up and be like, hold on, like it can't be everybody but me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. At some point, you got to look at it.
Remember when he was battling Reed? And he told Reed, you were better in the smack era. Somebody stopped and screamed out, you too! Yes. And actually stopped his round. And he got he got ridiculed. He got reaction against himself in his own round. Has that ever, like, you know how hard you have to try to get reaction against you in your own round?
For real. Like, nah, it was a real strange moment, man. It's I don't know. Mook's really, it's like he's choosing at this point. He's just choosing to be difficult. Like he's made a conscious decision to not transition, and if that's what he's doing, then hey, I feel
like he's aware that he needs to make an adjustment. I just don't know if he's committed to actually what that adjustment entails. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look, man, you know, we're basketball fans. We're watching Westbrook right now. Westbrook is an all-time great because he's stubborn, and now he's not a great NBA player no more because he's stubborn. And that might be the same thing for Mook. Like, he's an all-time great because he's stubborn, and maybe now he's no longer, you know, that high level of a battle rapper because he's stubborn.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a great way to put it. It's like what works for you works against you at a certain point when you're not ready, when you're not willing to adapt.
And look, I also want to say one thing. I know he's like, I've been in front of crowds. I didn't feel like bursting that bubble in the moment because it's just, I don't want to get into that. But I worked in front of the State Building in Harlem. The square footage of that building does not allow there to be 700 people outside of a building. And if there's 700 people outside of a building on a busy ass street like the Adam Powell State Building, yeah, I don't think a battle's happening. We can see the footage. We can see the crowd. It's not 700 people.
Right. That was one of those moments where I'm like, I watched that. I don't feel like it was that many, but I wasn't there. I can't say.
I can't say neither, but like I just
you understand the logistics of it more. You understand the logistics. Yeah. I don't know. I know this. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. But yeah, it's like that's the kind of the funny thing with Mook. We can get. I mean, this is kind of delving into the battle, but it's like everyone gets mad when you say when you missing the fact that his best battle was with Smack and no one else there. And like, oh, why is that a problem? Because that's not what battle rap is. It's just not. I'm sorry, it's not. There's more than one person in the room now. It's the game, man.
I hate to be that guy to like try to like downplay one of his career high performances because I went back to watch that. I watched that battle multiple times, and I went back to watch it recently. His content in that battle is by far his best. It's really, really, really good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I almost feel like it can actually, that content with the right delivery can possibly translate well on the stage. It's just when you look at that moment, it's just like, all right, there's no crowd obstacle there. Like that crowd has been removed. That's an obstacle that we still have doubts about you, and you weren't challenged by it in that moment. And then you took the most crowd-oriented battle rapper and put him in the exact opposite environment of where he would thrive in.
Right.
So like
unexpectedly at that, because that wasn't the plan for that battle either.
So when he asked me, like, you think it'll be different on the stage? Like, there's no way I can say that battle will be the exact same on the stage. There's absolutely no way. No. There's absolutely no way.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And we know for a fact that sometimes you can have the exact same raps and things not turn out the exact same way. Like it's a very possible outcome.
I mean, how many rounds, France, sound good when people rap them to their friends when it's just them, and then we hear it on stage and it doesn't translate. That's battle is literally an example of that, like a living example of that. There are elements you don't have to deal with. Mook just got to rap, and it was great with him just getting to rap. There's not many people who are in a room we just got to rap who are going to do that better than him, but we're not there anymore. He needs to, for him to properly transition, for this to not be a New York debacle, he's got to accept that fact. He has to. And like I said, it does seem like he wants to. He did say in the press conference, yeah, I need this. He said that in the conversation. He said, I need this now. That could be, I need this so I can see what I need to do differently. Or that could be, I need this because I want to be motivated more. With motivation's cool, but if you're not changing anything, motivation's not going to mean anything for you. But like he did seem, at least he was listening somewhat. It seemed like that. We can take that away. Maybe he listens. Maybe he goes home. Like maybe in the moment he's mad. He goes home, thinks about it for a second, and then changes something. And say, "Yo, friends, this for you." And then suddenly we get a new Murda Mook.
Hey, you know, one of the most stubborn people, Cassidy, who lowest of keys doesn't like to admit that he needed to make adjustments or change. What he does, he likes to downplay his previous performance. Like, I wasn't even at a 10. I was at a 5 in that battle. Now I'm at a 7. So it's like, all right, so you turned it up. All right, whatever. Right. But even him against Hitman Holla, you see that he made the adjustment. There's no way he walked out that Arsenal battle and genuinely felt like he had a good performance. Maybe the Goods battle, he might have felt that way. His first round obviously had that reception. And his third round, obviously, his fan base overshadowed the battle rap fan base, especially on the YouTube comments. So he might have actually believed so. But there's no way the Arsenal battle, he felt like deep in his heart, he felt like, damn, that wasn't my best showing there. And he made the adjustment in the Hitman battle.
Right. And the thing with Cassidy, even in the Arsenal battle, like he tried to add some performance elements. They were just cringy. But he
did. Like he actually tried to do something different.
He's attempted adjustments. They just don't work. But at least you see the attempt there. And it's like, okay, so you know you're not perfect. No matter what you say, you know there are things you need to do differently. You know, that's the key. And honestly, because of the fact that people do support Mook and want Mook to win, if Mook makes the slightest adjustment, it's gonna mean the world. It really is. In the moment, it's gonna mean a lot. We talk about the sorcery, man. The illusion. He created the illusion of almost victory. He can.
It's an unfortunate thing that the expectation curve is a real thing in battle rap. And it's even more unfortunate that our all-time greats and legends have this big curve sometimes. But it would take a conscious effort for him to replicate his Reed or Iron performance. It would take like you have to really try to be at that level again. So can he be better than that? Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, it's not the bar is low. The bar is definitely low for him. He doesn't have to do too much. He doesn't have to do too much, but he's just got to do it. Just at least do it for your sake. Because I'm willing to laugh at New York losing in New York. I got a tweet ready for it already in my mind. So like, don't let me have to send it off. I don't want to. I don't want to send it off, but I will. I will push the button, but I want to push the button.
And the Yankees lost. The Nets looking like a mess. The Knicks are the Knicks. I mean, it's like, but just because I'm from here, don't act like I'm not all the way pro New York in a lot of things just because I'm from here. Okay.
I know. No, I'm saying like for the general New Yorker, like I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it to you. I want to do it. I don't want to send the tweet off that I got ready for you. I don't.
It's in the drafts already.
It's in my mental draft. It ain't make it to the real drafts yet. I might hit the schedule tweet button and just have it drop. Oh man, but I think that pretty much covers everything, right?
Before we get out of here, can we hit on two quick topics?
Yes.
Can we talk about Amin's drop versus Elijah Strait? Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it yet. I literally woke up to do this with the bomb on him.
Oh man, Elijah at one point in his round actually confessed that he's like, kind of sound like Nitty. You don't say.
No, that's funny.
And he was stumbling through. He couldn't get through a clean. I wonder how much time they had to prep. It's only a 1-round battle, so probably maybe less than 2 weeks. But let me play this little clip for you for Ace real quick.
They give me the bag, and I believe in Muhammad. That is literally a prophet to come after Christ. Get back tonight. Get back tonight. I can't be convinced. He might not be on drugs, but he's a bitch. ALP, keep some bricks. I'll pull up while you're getting baptized and stop your bubble. You can keep the grits and leave him with the leaves and shit. If he outside, leave him outside. He gonna reek your piss. Niggas get outclassed, won't never get to see a ditch. His Holy Spirit flying all around him. Nigga, I don't even believe in this. Grab him. Grab the knife. Leave him grip. Pass the knife. Leave him grip. I'll cut your throat. Leave him grip. Slice a Christian. Straight down the middle. Yeah. I give you Adam an even split. This shit.
Give you Adam even split. That was awesome.
Ace back.
Ace is back, man. You know, Ace knocking off the rust. He had only 1-round battle with Big T and a couple battles over at OSBL. But now he's back on the league, and this was a good battle to knock off the rust, get ready for a nice ramp up. Sorry, Elijah. Sorry, I had to be you. Ace collects his 9th app win. He's actually very close to being the top 10 app battler.
Where he got 9 app wins?
He got 9 app wins.
Crazy.
All right.
It's 8 more than Verb.
Any battles you like to see Ace in the near future?
I would still like if this man likes the battle rap. I like to see Ace and B.E.T. If that man would like to return to battle rap at any point.
They had a good little promo that started really good and then it got really weird.
Yeah, right. It got strange randomly, but yeah, I still like to see that. Ace and Chess obviously is always one that's been in the tuck for a couple years. So if we can run that, let that battle go down now. Yeah, I just want to see Ace. I really want to see Ace get on a run so we can start advocating for him getting more of those big names. Because him and Calico is a great battle on paper.
The last topic I want to touch on. I know we kind of talked about it in the space when we broke the news. We haven't got a chance to pod about it. We broke the announcement that Saynt signed the deal with URL, an exclusivity deal. Yeah. So he's over there now. Well, I don't want to say welcome home, but welcome to where everybody wants you to be.
Right.
What was overall your thoughts of Saynt on the league now?
It was the right move, and it's not like shot at KOTD, but he's literally done everything you can do at KOTD except for win the chain. And he went for the chain and got as close as you can get to it and then get it.
Those first 2 rounds, man.
Yeah, there's a case for him. There's a strong case for him. He went for it. He got as close as you can get to getting it. There were really no matchups for him because he ran through the tournament, which took a lot of battles he could have had away from him. Run through that tournament over there. He was in that tournament. He was even in the season, which didn't go as well. But he already had his title shot locked up. So why You know, why am I going to do this whole season? I already got a title shot ready for me. You know,
Yeah, Saynt had a real interesting trajectory because, like, obviously we all remember the Geechee Gotti battle, and he was talented, but obviously got smoked in that battle.
Yeah.
And it almost like became like this giant stand for a while that he had to work his way back up. He was doing a lot of battles, getting consistent, but wasn't really getting that look. So he was on Town Business against Gray Fox, against B Magic, and then like really took off, and everybody's like has him on his radar. Then he goes on his Grand Prix run. The first 3 battles in the Grand Prix, you know, solid battles, you know what I'm saying? But his last 2 battles that were really defining, where he beats Disaster and beats Marv 1 as an underdog to both. You beat two top 50 battle rappers back to back in judge victories during the same time where you're parallel to all these guys from the UM1 class. And people, I remember you and I were like, you know, Saynt is just as good as these guys. And everybody's like, oh, no, they're not. I'm like, I don't know. We just see all these guys in the judge tournament. I'm not confident these guys beat Marv 1 and Disaster back to back in the judge battle.
Facts. Yeah, that's exactly what we're saying. Like, yo, he's done things that these guys haven't done yet. It just is what it is. And I think this is the perfect place for him. There's a lot of battles out there for him. You know, him and Elijah Strait had it back and forth earlier this year.
Yeah.
To line that up. Bigger name, small. He's got a nice little slate of battles he could have over here. And I think this is where it should be now. This, you know, it's time. It's not always about a league. It's more about where your matchup's going to be at right now. And there's just nothing left for him to do over there. Where's the motivation going to come from? You know what I'm saying? Like you said, beating Marv 1 Disaster and having a great battle with Real Deal, like a great battle with Real Deal, who is arguably an all-time great. Hey, he's done a lot. He's gonna come over here and prove himself. I think it'll be fine. I think it's good.
Yeah, man. I'm hard pressed to believe that a guy that, you know, beat Disaster, beat Marv 1, went toe to toe with Real Deal, and obviously beat the Ultimate Madness 4 champion, obliterated him actually. I have a tough time believing that somebody like that is going to have any trouble in the league. Like when he called out JC, Nitty, and Danny, I was like, slow your roll, partner. You want the top 3 guys on the app? But to be fair, I've been calling him out for years, and 2 of them from the West that would obviously give him the shot and the look. Right. I want to see him work his way up there a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? I would hate for you to come into URL and off rip 0-2, 0-3. You know, I want to see him work his way up there.
Yeah, I agree. You need to establish a base with the fans over here before you just jump out the window into the Nitties and the Dannies, because the West Coast love can only carry you so far. Plus, the West Coast brotherhood can only carry you so far.
You rack up a few wins over here, you create the whole like, okay, you know, maybe like there's people that still doubt him and be like, oh, maybe he is good. And when you beat that one person that people probably aren't expecting, like I think Saynt could beat a lot of the people that would consider established mid tiers on URL. Anybody can be anybody over there.
Right.
If he gets those wins, then people kind of like, you know what? You won me over, even though I think there's no reason to doubt him whatsoever.
Thanks.
You know? And when Elijah Strait and him had that back and forth, like Elijah, like respectfully, bro, like you're nowhere near as decorated as this guy.
Nah, yeah, At that time, it felt like I don't know about that one, Elijah. I still don't know about that one.
At the time, there wasn't enough people standing up for King of the Dot. You know what I'm saying? And I want people to remember that's the second highest league available. And being somebody that's fresh out the crucibles, you know, it's slightly getting in rotation on Survivor Series. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're a guy on the second highest league battling all-time greats and beating them, like it doesn't compare.
Facts. Yeah, it doesn't, man. I think Saynt's gonna be just fine. The transition. It's all gonna be about matchups, what matchups it takes and the timing of them. Because there's not too many battles you say, oh, I got Saynt versus such and such. I'm not gonna be mad at it. I don't think you can look at the UM4 class and see that class and think Saynt can't compete with those guys. Or he's somehow below those guys.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not. Like Saynt is above the UM4 guys.
Right.
Saynt is right there with the UM1 guys, man. You know what I'm saying? Like 100%. If Saynt and Kid Chaos battled, like I think Kid Chaos would probably get the win, but
it's a good battle.
Saynt could definitely beat Chaos. Saynt could beat Stick. Saynt could beat a lot of these guys.
For sure. Like Saynt, I think people are gonna be pleasantly or unpleasantly surprised by how good he does, because you know how the people are.
All right, man. Let's wrap this up, man. I got a man going crazy here.
Yeah, I'm good. That's about it, man. Appreciate y'all for listening. This was a little quick pod, you know what I'm saying? I gotta go to work. You gotta go take care of Jax. We lose his mind. And
shameless plug, if you made it all the way to the end, We got Twitter Spaces all weekend long for all the up and coming events. We got a Blood, Sweat, and Tears Space Thursday. We got a Final Exam Space on Friday. A Chrome 23 Prediction Space Saturday. So pull on up. We'll be covering all of the festivities this weekend. You know how we do.
Facts. And check out all the pods on this podcast feed too. Make sure, check out that Mike P interview. It's dope. It's a dope listen. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. We got to spend the block on both of these because it was a crazy week.
Facts. So with that, appreciate y'all, man. And we out.